Hello! Hang on, actually, let me get music on. There we go. So, now that we're getting people... Yeah! Now that we're getting people to come trickling in, feel free to pause on YouTube end, or look back on YouTube end. We have a few... Yeah! I love Goose Goose Duck. Or Duck Duck Goose. Sorry. I always want to say Goose Goose Duck for some reason. But yeah, so YouTube end, feel free to go pause, back up in the stream, whatever have you. Because we are going to be going over Data Fortress. So Data Fortress is a kind of like a splat book for Cyberpunk 2020. If you don't know what a splat book is and you're new to TTRPGs, splat books are essentially extra content. So outside of the core rules. Data Fortress 2020, which is who made Interlock Unlimited. This is going off the bones of Cyberpunk 2020. This is a reimagining of all the core rules, combat systems. I think it even has a different initiative system than Cyberpunk. So this is completely fan-made. I think they do have permission from the creator of Cyberpunk 2020 to have this out in the world. We'll be going over, I think it's about, this is the core rulebook, but we're going to be going over the 4, like, main, what I think of when I come to Interlock and looking for alternate rules and such. This will add in a ton of different roles, not just your basic Cyberpunk roles, like Rocker Boy, Nomad, all of that. So, Interlock is huge. If you know the basis of Cyberpunk 2020, which you guys should know by now, because we went over it, this is pretty much going to be a quick glance over Interlock, pointing out what's different, what is the same, and then going from there. For the core rulebook for Interlock. We're not going to be here for long, because we have 4 other books to go over. So, don't mind the art. The art is really old. As you can tell, I'm pretty sure this means that it was updated in 07 or 2014. We'll see. As you can see, very different layout to everything, and as you can tell, lots of rules. What we're going to mostly go through is the differences in the basics, your character identity and roles, the new skill system, well, not skill system, the new skills that are in this, and also the new roles. I know that they've changed martial arts and a few other things too. We do have a Martial Arts Unlimited, so we'll probably cover that in Martial Arts Unlimited. Everything's pretty much the same with how you calculate, like, your body, your character statistics. That's all pretty much the same. Same thing with, like, your level here. Epic being kind of like your action hero kind of vibe, is still 75 points. Gutter is 55, and that's to spend amongst your skills and your stats. So like, gutter level you'll be able to max out, if you really want to, max out 5 skills. And then have another skill at, 5 points. I don't suggest it, it's just there. Here's where we get into the roles. So, I think last time I went over the roles a little bit for Interlock. Took a sippy. Interlock has a lot of different roles for different things that you might want to be. Like Animal Empath, Artiste, Cop, that sort of thing. It's pretty much, it's simplified a lot of the abilities, a lot of the role abilities, as you can see here. Some of them, we'll go with Monday, which is the mundane. What you normally have for your thing, because this is a universal role-playing system at this point. You can play just about anything. It doesn't have to be Cyberpunk. They made Interlock to be able to play just about any kind of game. If you want to play fantasy, you can play fantasy. If you want to play a sci-fi game, you can play a sci-fi game. They pretty much made it a GURPS-esque, a simplified GURPS, essentially. We might go over GURPS eventually. We might not. I'm still learning GURPS, so I want to be confident in that. But, back to this. For Monday, so they pretty much have, like, your normal everyday job. Clerk, data entry, dishwasher, stock boy, that kind of thing. You're just a normal dude for this role. Your special ability is Conform. You can move from one part-time job to the next with ease, instantly finding a stride there. The special ability itself is rather subjective, adding resist torture. So, to go back over a little bit of how the abilities work, however many ranks you have in your special ability, which is normally associated with how many levels your DM starts you out with, that you add that skill to whatever it states. So like in this case, you add your Conform to resist torture, which I think is really funny. And it even explains why. It determines how long you can maintain employment given low pay, bad conditions, and lack of respect from superiors and customers. You could also, Bundy's really cool because you can also add a skill, add it to one skill that correlates to your current employment. And they give the example here of, for instance, someone working at a pawn shop would add it to appraise. So depending on what you're doing as a job, changes your ability, which I think is really cool. You always get resist torture, and you get whatever directly correlates to what you're doing as a non-job. And there's a lot of them like that. My personal favorite is the Savage, which is down here, the Barbarian-like. Where you add... A Savage may choose to use their body instead of reflex to determine brawl melee attacks, which is really good considering body is a really nice stat to have. And then you get Rampage. Adds level to Intimidate and hand-to-hand damage only when using brawling/melee, and cannot be used with martial arts. And that's the Savage, pretty much. And a lot of them are like that. Some of them are very simple, like medtech over here, where you just add your level to first aid and one other med skill, or diagnose illness. And some of them are just simple like that. Some are like the Savage or the Mundi. Some have big things like credibility over here with the media, where they actually have like a leadership type skill. If you're not aware of Pathfinder or D&D, leadership is essentially a like number that you have to have. That's pretty much this. It's really interesting. A lot of the skills are like this too. The special abilities, because Cyberpunk is such a skill-based system, these abilities are understandable because you can play a media and be kind of more of a solo. That's just how these types of games work. It's a skill-based, not a class-based system. Moving on, because we're trying to speedrun this. We're gonna get a lot of fluff here. IP works the same way. So, you see here, as you move up, you want to buy the skill. So how you level up your IP, or your abilities, is your rank plus the next skill, the next rank. So, 10, say you have 1 level in Brawling. You then spend 20 points because you're trying to get from level 1 to level 2. Level 3 will have you do 20. So it'd be 40 altogether for a level 3. And so forth. It caps out at 10 normally. You can go past 10. That's all up to the DM though. And not only that, that'd be really expensive. There's fumbles, that sort of thing. Now onto the skill list. I'm not going through all of these. Do know that. I am not going through all of the skills in this freaking game. Of course, you got all of your special abilities. Those are in our role ability area. It's pretty much like an expanded skill list. I do know the one that is different from all of this is martial arts. Where the heck is martial arts? Where's martial arts? It's somewhere in here. I think it might be... Is it a tech skill? No. Brawling, melee... Oh, martial arts. Here it is. Martial arts is going to be a little different. It's going to have its own home. Because they changed the martial arts system. There's also a different initiative system, but we normally... Personally, we use Cyberpunk's normal system, where you roll every round to see what the initiative order is. But other than that, it changes it. It also messes with solo a little bit. Solo has a different thing. We just use baseline solo for our Interlock games, mostly because they kind of overcomplicated it, in our opinion. But that's the beauty of using a game that is subjective. Oh, crap, I don't have, YouTube up. Hang on, YouTube. I completely forgot to pull up, y'all. I am so sorry. Hang on, let me get your thing up. Whoopsies. from... Hello, Bebop! Welcome, hun! I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. This is my, Roll Your Die section, where we go over different TTRPGs and such, and today we're wrapping up Cyberpunk 2020 and the Interlock system. Welcome. We're on the, special abilities and, like, skill descriptions and stuff. Yeah, welcome! Feel free to stay around. You might be a little lost. To go over it real quick, we're essentially going over Interlock Unlimited, which is a retooling of the Cyberpunk 2020 system, which is very different from D&D, where it is a skill-based system. Never played that game? That's understandable. That's why I make this thing, because, this section of my streams. Because, a lot of them are very niche. The TTRPG system is huge. It's a huge, hobby. But yeah. And if it helps, over on my YouTube, I have a playlist of all of my Roll Your Die. And that's where we go a little bit more in depth. We're just kind of glancing over Interlock Unlimited to get to the splat books that introduce extra rules like martial arts, more martial arts I should say, magic, and all of that fun stuff. It is based off of Cyberpunk at its roots. So if you like Cyberpunk, it's there. Hi Jay, welcome back, hun! It is a board game. So, tabletop RPG is what it is. Yeah, that's what a TTRPG is. It's a tabletop role-playing game. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I said. It was like, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Except it's a, skill-based. So, Dungeons and Dragons is, class-based, where a lot of your abilities, especially with 5th edition, is kind of decided for you. Whereas this, what you are, your archetype, so to speak, doesn't really matter. It gives you a small boon, whereas what makes your character is your skills and stats. It's really interesting. I really like it. Hi Plum! Welcome, hun! But yeah. I am streaming over on YouTube, so if you want to follow along, feel free. Oh, you're fine, hun! You're okay. We're gonna scroll through the... Okay, so... I'm back on topic. After my, my thing. Yeah, you are completely fine, Jay. For missing streams. Yeah, you gotta look out for her. So our main ones we're gonna look at in these skill lists is the expert skills, which, as you can see, for those watching at home, whoops, sorry about that, is a pretty hefty list. Expert skill is essentially you are an expert in your field in that specific skill. This can be anthropology, astrology, economics, that sort of thing. It's essentially very specified knowledge skills. You get a bonus to these skills. Sorry about that, hun. You get a bonus to these skills, essentially, with that specific rank. Then, if we scroll down here a little bit further, where is our martial arts area? Yes, what's up? Oops. Accidentally closed it. Did not mean to close it. Go ahead and ask it, hun. I am always open for, I just don't like how Twitch treats, VTubers. I've done Twitch, and I also have done Twitch in the past, and I don't like it. A lot of times they treat VTubers worse than a normal streamer. Some VTubers will just get banned randomly for no reason. And there's not a lot of growth on Twitch. I do have a Twitch account, I just don't ever stream on it, personally. Anyways, to get back on topic. I will say one of my main rules is to, if you have questions about off-topic, to not do that. If you have questions about the TTRPG at hand, go for it. Or if I bring up, like, a different kind of topic. Please don't change the topic, especially when I'm in the middle of teaching. Thank you. The language group is also expanded in this game. Sorry about that, YouTube. Our languages are also expanded in this, where, for everybody watching at home, I think it's about, yeah, it's about a page long for languages. But yeah, languages like Baltic, Russian, German. Yes. Like I said, it is a very skill-based game. Like, during character creation for Cyberpunk baseline, you learn about 3 different languages. You have your race language, street slang, and English, normally. You can opt, it is optional to add English to that. We normally do. Just so you can be able to talk to everybody. But yeah, you normally have native, you normally have your native language, English, and your language from native language, English, and street slang. So, yeah. I didn't mention anything about Warhammer. Martial arts is different too. So, more than likely, there's a few different skill-based TTRPGs. I've actually never properly looked at Warhammer. I do plan on doing it eventually. So how martial arts works in 2020 baseline is you get different martial arts styles. So, martial arts styles are like karate, aikido, that sort of thing. You have different ones that do different things, whereas this, you kind of do... they're not necessarily like feat trees. It's more like you take each style is its own skill, whereas Interlock changes it. But it also kind of breaks just a little if you're not using the specific rules Interlock uses, because it changes some of the defensive rules. As you can see for everybody at home, there's a table here going off of, like, what the style adds to, and the type of things that you can do. Like, defensive style is very defensive, so you get, block, dodge, grapple, that sort of thing. And this is a little bit different from brawling and melee. It gives you so whenever you go to attack in Cyberpunk, you roll based off of what your skill is. So say I have, handgun skill. I'm going to roll with the skill, plus my reflex stat, plus whatever my bonus is from the gun, and any auxiliary bonuses I get. So you can get, like, a minus to make a call shot, and that makes it so you're not rolling a random hit point area, because how they do their damage is also... Yeah, this is Cyberpunk, so... you got guns, cybernetics, that sort of thing. If you've ever seen Cyberpunk 2077, it's very similar to that. Some people... This is also a system that you can run anything in. And there's a lot of, like, action hero. So, Cyberpunk, for an example, is a very action-based system. So it's based off of, like, the 80s, 90s action hero movies. So you'll have people going in with high body that can just tank bullets. I've actually seen it a few times playing it myself, of people playing high body, high reflex, and dodging bullets consistently. Yeah, you can pretty much Matrix it. It's really cool. I definitely suggest, if you can find a group willing to play Cyberpunk 2020 or Cyberpunk Red. Cyberpunk Red I call the Baby's First Cyberpunk system. It's a little bit more simplified. It's kind of what I've considered the 5th edition of Cyberpunk. Where 5th edition is very easy to pick up and play. That's kind of Cyberpunk Red. Although I don't suggest playing a Netrunner as your first character. I say from experience. I do suggest playing Cyberpunk if you like the vibes of it too. If you like Warhammer, because you've mentioned Warhammer, you might like Cyberpunk. It's corporate dystopia mixed with 80s. You probably aren't. Iriam does, make people invisible after a while, so they're probably just chilling. But yeah. And I also am doing this for YouTube too, so I have some folks in my YouTube chat that are watching. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the base rules of Interlock that are different. Nope, they cannot. Iriam is a different system from this, and I have not figured out how to get you guys to pop up. Yeah, it's a little weird, but they know what they're getting into. So, our main question here is, which book do we start on next? So we have... Hello, Martyr! Welcome, hun! Welcome back! Hello! So do we want to do Martial Arts Unlimited, Arcane Unlimited, Psionics Unlimited, or Meta Powers Unlimited for our thing? Yeah, it's been a while! Been a hot minute. Meta Powers? Alrighty. So, to explain the Interlock Unlimited, me on uncharted waters. So, Meta Powers Unlimited is a splat book for Interlock Unlimited system that gives you superpowers. How they handle, and this will go forward to the other roles. Oh, heck yeah. It adds the roll ability. If I remember right, it's a roll ability. Is it a roll ability? Hang on. Let me check. Let me make sure, because I know Psionics gives you the Psionesis. No. Okay. Cool. So, Meta Powers Unlimited is a little different than the rest of them. Normally, when you have your splat book, it gives you a new role. In this case, it is just skills. You get separate skill pool, essentially, for picking out your meta powers. This, I would suggest for if you want to do like a Batman Beyond kind of campaign, or Ultimate Spider-Man, that kind of vibe. If you want to do superheroes. It's really good. There's a lot of skills you will find out. We're only going to go through a couple of them. We're going to go through some of the funny ones and some of the more traditional ones. So you get your powers, your points, essentially. So it depends on your game level, which goes from gutter, street, high, demigod, and celestial. And it scales off of your luck stat. Luck is one of your stat ability stats, and essentially it's a point pool that you can add to your rolls. We normally make them refresh every game, or every session, or mission, and so forth. Some people don't do that. It's just dependent. Hello, Prince Stevie. Welcome, hun. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome. This is my, roll your dice section where we're going through, TTRPG books of niche TTRPGs, or maybe not as popular. We're currently going over... we're finishing up Cyberpunk 2020 and going over the Interlock Unlimited system. But, we'll start with Gutter first, which is luck equals your power point total. And see, each individual power has its own cost. So, Gutter, you'll probably have like 1 or 2 powers, depending on how high your luck stat is. Keep in mind, your luck can cap out at 10. It's really hard to make your stats bigger than 10. You can with cybernetics, but there are just some stats that are really hard to do. Street goes for luck plus luck, so you could get upwards of 20 points with street level. High is luck plus luck times 5. So 20, think 20 times 5, so that would be 20, or not 25, what? 100. There we go. And then it goes from there. Luck plus luck times 10, so 20 times 10, that would be, I'm thinking 200? No. 2,000, I think. I could be wrong. And so on and so forth. You guys can read back. Cybernetics are allowed. You can use cybernetics if your DM permits, I should state. Normally there's also other things, like they have rules for adding in psionic powers and magic. Oop, whoops. Did not mean to close it. Let's get down here. So they split some of the powers up. So meta powers will be in one of, I think, 2 bits, being standard powers and advanced powers. Standard powers are like adhesion. That's the first one I saw here. And that, think of like Spider-Man or Nightcrawler. They can crawl on walls, and that's about it. They can stick, they're kind of like geckos. They can stick to walls, move around on them. You could spend points to make it better. There's also weaknesses like surface-specific, genetic residue, that sort of thing. We'll get into the weaknesses later. Weaknesses make it so your point costs aren't as much. This can be as simple and as hard, like complicated as you want it to be. They bring in a lot of GURP stuff, from what I remember. GURP style playing. Let me go down. We got animal, we got like the shape-shifting, you know, altered forms. Affinity, this could be animals, languages, that sort of thing. You can just speak in that. Elastic, light shadow, incorporeal. Hang on, let me get to vegetable. Vegetable's really funny. So vegetable is purely you turn yourself into a plant. It's so silly. It's really funny. There's some that are just like, why? Why is this a thing? I've thought about doing bestow as an ability. Body snatch, which is pretty much change now, Captain Ginyu type thing. Consume. It's stuff like that. There's a lot of them. I'm just gonna scroll through here, let you guys pause if you want to read through them. I'll also link where you can find all of these down in the description if you want to look at both Cyberpunk 2020 and Interlock if you're interested. But yeah. Now we're getting into, I think, the advanced. Oh yeah, tiered. Sorry, it's not tiered, or not, advanced. It's tiered powers. Tiered powers work a lot like how skills work normally. So what we just went through, all of those powers are like a set bonus. So you might spend 5 points for adhesion. And that's it. You don't have to pay any more points for it. Whereas this gives you tiered. So you'll have like first tier super strength. And you only spend 1 point. And it goes all the way up to 10. So it's the cost of the current level. So they use the example of a tiered power from level 3 to 4 would cost 3 points. Unlike skills, however, this cost is present at a character generation as well as through earned power points. So you can make your powers stronger throughout the game too. And of course here's the table, so level 1 to 2 would be 2 points. 3 to 4 would be 3 points. And so on and so forth. Let's go down here. So we start getting into the more tiered stuff. Hi, Sanic! Long time no see, friend! We have, like, Bestow Power, Major, which can allow you to give someone a tiered power if you want. Dimensional Storage, Elemental Domination, and it has, like, the list of what that goes into. You can become the Avatar if you really wanted to. Energy Bubble, Healing. I've actually made my, I've made 2 characters using this from some, from our superhero games that we've played. One's Sanctuary, which is, wow, I can't believe it's not Superman. An angel paragon type. And then I made, Gecko, which is my symbiote character, my Venom character. If you know me on, if you know, over on, Art Fight, you'll know who Gecko is. Energy emission, that sort of thing. And if you want to pause, you can pause. I will have the PDFs linked below for you to go check it out yourself. And that's pretty much it for meta powers. There's just so many. I don't want to go through each individual one. I will go over some of the ones that are skill-based. Or not skill-based, stat-based. Like, super strength is one. Which essentially makes your abilities better. As you can tell, you get a strength multiplier. And each level essentially times your stat each time. And there's a lot of stuff. So this is in Interlock Unlimited. So Interlock System is a third-party splat book that they pretty much added to 2020. You can use the rules. We use the base 2020 rules plus Interlock splats all the time. It's really easy to mod it. It's essentially kind of like D&D and like Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes and stuff like that. It adds more roles, more skills, more things to do and add to your characters. It's really fun. They're all optional. You can add as many or as little as you want. The next one, I think this will lead into psionics really well. Because we've actually done a Meta Powers and Psionic game before. Psionics is the start of our you get a new role ability. So you get the new role ability of Scion. Psionics, we already know, for the most part. If you're familiar with D&D, Psionics is very much similar to this. You pretty much get power points. You spend those power points on different abilities that you can use. Where this is different from the Meta Powers doesn't give you a role. Scion is a role to be able to use your psionic powers. They have the role ability of Psi, which adds to meditation and human empathy. You want to have good empathy for the psionic class, for the psionic archetype. If you do not, you will be suffering. Trust me. Callisto, my netrunner, was also a Scion, so we had chaos. She was netrunner, Scion, and media for her abilities. But it works similar to the Meta Powers. Media power. Media's fun. Media is essentially, I wouldn't lie, trust. If that was how Callisto was, because she worked for a corpo. She was, so, if you ever think about wanting to play Cyberpunk, go all in on the 80s, 90s action movie scene. Because that's what it's based off of. That's its, like, vibes. Blade Runner. Some of the more Wuxia style, martial arts movies like Ip Man, anything to do with Bruce Lee, that sort of vibe. You know, you're going in on the classic 80s, 90s type movies. Indiana Jones, even. I've wanted to do a, kind of Indiana Jones Cyberpunk-esque game before. We've done one where, it was, oh gosh, essentially, we did a one-shot of where we were contacted by the government to go and deal with mummy Nazis. I forget what it was called, what the module was called. I would have to ask partner what it was called, but this is a legitimate module for Cyberpunk 2020. And it actually led into our next campaign being Arcane Unlimited, possibly. Yep. The mummy Nazis of the, I think it was like the Fourth Reich, or something like that. And they were trying to bring back, Hitler with Egyptian magic. And we went in and destroyed the Towers of Giza. What is this, Yu-Gi-Oh? Welcome to some cyberpunk storylines. It's great. It's wonderful. We've had so many points like our nomad Dusty. He's a consistent character that pops up. Because we have a friend that really likes playing Dusty. So we've just kind of have the inside joke that he's an eldritch being. He is our bat crazy, nomad. That drinks gasoline and is borderline psychotic. And the ongoing funny is that he listens to, like, 80s, 90s pop. Like something you would see on classic DDR type pop. Like bubblegum pop. So, like, there's nothing like blowing up the ISS to hold the line, too. Or shooting down enemies to Barbie Girl. It's wonderful. I should state, this is our main, one of our main DMs. Too. A certain aesthetic, exactly. It's wonderful. But yeah, so with how you do psionic powers is you do get a point pool for however much your psionic abilities cost. Hang on. So every level used of the psionic skill costs 1 power point. Let me see here. Let me find how much this is. Okay, multiplied PSI is multiplied by the character's int. Okay, so your PSI, which is your ability, so your roll ability times your intelligence. I will state Scion really wants intelligence, and I think intelligence, empathy, and cool, if I recall correctly. Because you're going to be doing psionic battles. So, resisting psionic powers, if they would resist it, the target rolls cool plus resist torture and drugs plus their D10. Because this is a D10 system. The Scion rolls their cool plus their psionic skill level plus 10. So whatever your rank is in your psionic skill, you add that. So, say I have 10 cool, my precog is 5, and then I roll a d10. I'm gonna go with our average, which is 5. So, altogether, they have to get above a 20. With their cool, resist, torture, and drugs, and their d10. It's pretty simple. There's a lot that goes into it, but if this is like your main thing that you're doing, it's not that bad. It's when you get to adding in, like, say, I also shoot. I use a gun. That's when it gets a little chaotic and you have to keep track of everything. Yeah, power word gun. If you don't remember, this is Cyberpunk, so of course you're gonna be carrying a gun around. Whether you get it from the vending machine down the street or from a okayed arms dealer. But yeah, that's pretty much psionics. You have like your classic psionic abilities. There's not that many. This is just a 5-page doc of like astral projection, precog, emotional domination, psionic invasion. I think there's like a sling type ability. Yeah, telelocation, teledominance, that sort of thing. Telepathy. Your classic psionic abilities. These are still skill-based, so you are spending points on your skills. But it's not too bad. Our next one, which goes really well with meta psionics, is Arcane Unlimited. Going off of the thing, I am so sorry, YouTube. I'm going to quickly go down, because the cover has a naked woman on it, and I am sorry. Pan instantly. Again, you get a new one, which is a new role ability, which is the Arcanist. This is going to be Wizard the role ability. So, Arcanist is essentially any kind of casting. You can see where it comes here, has like Wizard, Mage, Warlock, Witch, Sorcerer, Necromancer, and Cleric. This is pretty much going to be your magic boy. Hi Ventus! Hello friend! Your class ability is called Wielding. I'm doing pretty good. How are you today, hon? You add your class ability to Arcane Lore and Spellcraft, which are our two new skills. Baseline. Oh, heck yeah. You got this. As you can already tell, for those watching at home, your target and your caster is the same as Psionics Unlimited. You got this, man. You got the 3 hours. I want to do a eventually do a campaign using Arcane Unlimited for a Shadowrun game, because no one in my party wants to play Shadowrun at all. Oh, heck yeah! You can create magic items, and it has all of that. Magic and humanity loss. Oh yeah, that's another thing. So, magic and psionics does humanity damage to you, depending on how hard you burn yourself out. You can burn yourself out and shut off your magic permanently. You can also go Cyber Psycho if you're not careful. Yeah, you can literally Ice King yourself with your abilities. I think Metapowers also has that. But it's mostly when you fumble. And you subtract a d6 from your humanity. It's really cool. I really like the what is the cost of magic vibe. But yeah. Let me scroll down. Yeah, of course. And like psionics, all of your spells are skills. Everything you cast is a skill. So it's kind of more like you can have a bunch of magic, but it's better to specify what kind of magic you're doing. And there's a lot of it. I think, yeah, there's 17 pages in this PDF. And I'll just scroll through. If you guys want to pause, feel free to. And again, I will have the link to Data Fortress, the Data Fortress, like where you can find all of these below. It is open to anyone. It is free to use. But Yeah. We'll continue finishing going down here. I personally haven't looked too much into Arcane Unlimited. My partner has more than me. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. There is a lot. There's 17 pages and it's mostly spells. Now for our last one of the night. Martial Arts Unlimited. You ever wanted to be a Dragon Ball character? Yep, Unlimited. So, a little difference between martial arts and the rest of them. There's already martial arts in Interlock Unlimited and Cyberpunk. This expands that and makes it bigger. It's still skills, so, let me scroll down here a little bit. As you can see, my friends, this is just page 1. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's 19 styles of martial arts here. All with their own different things that they do. Because this is using the Interlock Unlimited, I will suggest using Interlock Unlimited martial arts style if you are going to use the Martial Arts Unlimited book. Please, for the love of your DM, use the Interlock Unlimited rules for martial arts if you're going to use this. Do not try to cross both systems. It will not end well. This is a little bit longer than Arcane Unlimited. Let's see, how many pages is this? Okay, so we got 1, 2, that's a full page, 3, full page, and 4, almost a full page. And then we go into our descriptions of everything. And it's the type of combat, how they fight, all of that. And, like, extra style, like, things that they do. And where they come from. Some are as long or as short. Again, we're just going to glance over it because I don't want to be here all day. But yeah. Like, okay, Silver Method. That one's pretty short. English martial arts method centered around primarily using a sword. There's a lot of different ones. Just name dropped Jackie Chan in there. There's a lot. There is a lot of different types of martial arts, which makes sense. Then we get into weapons. You can use weapons in your combat as a martial arts. Martial arts has plenty of styles that use different types of weapons. Hello, Peak! Welcome back, hon. Heck yeah, hopefully you had a good day of work. Same old, going over, Martial Arts Unlimited in the Interlock Unlimited system of Cyberpunk 2020. We're wrapping up, Cyberpunk 2020. For week after next, we are starting on Drawsteel. Which, yeah, that's going to be our next thing. I get to make new stream thumbnail. Pretty much mumbo jumbo to me. That makes sense. So, our past few roll your dice have been on the Cyberpunk 2020 system. So Roll Your Die is my TTRPG go through. Good old Teppo Jitsu. Oh yeah, let me look. I think it's there. There's a lot. Thrash, boxing, gunfu. Honestly, you could probably do gunfu. I don't see it. But I do know you can use weapons. That's actually where we're at now. So it's a different type of system, but it is a TTRPG system. Cyberpunk is a... mixture of skill-based and more weapon-based of a TTRPG system. So it's a D10, that's what you're rolling, and your class doesn't really matter. It pretty much gives you a minor boon. Quote-unquote class. It's called an archetype here, but... and it's based off of the Cyberpunk. No, it's not D&D. It is definitely not D&D. It's not class-based at all. Dungeons & Dragons is a class-based system, whereas this is a skill-based system. What you're looking for the proper terminology is tabletop RPG or TTRPG. Trust me, I'm more kinder about saying please don't call it Dungeons & Dragons. It's not really create a class either. So I'll use the worst possible one, but the one that came to mind. Netrunner. Your Netrunner, for your archetype, more than likely will have skills in, like, security systems, computers, hacking, that sort of thing. But you can choose, you can pick Netrunner as your archetype, because they get their class ability to, I think security, and something else. Because that's, interface. You can pick that, and then go full in on guns, like a solo, in combat. You'll be a really bad solo. Well, I mean, not really that much worse than a normal solo. But it's there. Hi, Mystery! Welcome on! So, long story short, you pick your archetype level, which is normally dictated by your DM, and how much ever points you put into it, without going into too much detail, because you can buy ranks and stuff, but normally when you're first starting out, your DM sets your rank. That ability, so say I have 5 ranks in Netrunner, I add a +5 to whatever my Netrunner's skills are, and that's it. That's all the archetype does. For... essentially, it's up to you to pick up the skills you need for your archetype. For whatever fantasy you want to do. There's no wrong answer in Cyberpunk. It's very fast and loose type combat. Think 80s action movies rather than Sword and Board. Though you can do Sword and Board in like more Wexia style games with Interlock. This goes over back to this bladed weapons. You can do all that. Do they have things for guns? Let me check. Flexible weapons. Looks like they only have it for that. Creating your own martial arts. We'll scroll through here. I don't see guns. It wouldn't surprise me if you could. There's also special talents, and you can pick those up for, your points. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that is it for all of our points. That's funny. Yeah, that's about it for Interlock. You can swap over here. There we go. So TLDR of Cyberpunk, since we still got like 30 minutes. Cyberpunk is a D10 TTRPG system that is skill-based, not class-based. What that means is that you have an archetype that you can build off of, but for the most part it is your skills that allows you to make your character. Different types of TTRPGs out there are like this. It's not a D20 system, it is a D10 system with a fumble system. We also have armor soak that will go down as you take damage. Because when you get shot, of course your armor's not going to be as useful when you get lit up by a AK-47. This game is hot speed. Like, fast and loose is how you play Cyberpunk. Take risks, get high rewards. It is a gambler's game. Combat is fast and deadly, with high risk, high reward. And honestly, it is one of the more fun kind of games that I have ever played. So, my personal things with TTRPGs is how long combat phases normally last. I'm normally the type that during everybody else's turn, I'm figuring out what I'm doing. Cyberpunk makes it so it's easier to kind of fast and loose do things. Some people will figure out what they're doing beforehand as a group, while others will just go fast and loose because it can change. It can change on a dime what you're doing, especially if someone fumbles. And what I mean by fumbling, that means if you're rolling like a nat 1, you're gonna fumble. You're going to fumble really bad. I have seen somebody fumble on a grenade. There's a really funny copypasta on Cyberpunk. I think it's 2020. Someone doing that module I mentioned earlier. The mummy Nazi one. They pulled the so it's a party. It was a party Wyatt by friendly fire. So what had happened was someone picked up, pulled out their grenade, went to throw the grenade, fumbled, dropped the grenade onto a friend, blew up the friend. Their weapon went off. Fumbled. Killed the other person, killed another person. And it just cascaded from there. Everybody killed each other. Now, it's normally not that bad, but that just goes to show how unlucky you can be in this game. Just like my old days of Rainbow Six Siege. Yes, exactly that. I need to do a cyberpunk game eventually for some Iriam folks, because I would absolutely love to see a bunch of VTubers play Cyberpunk 2020. I want to see a bunch of VTubers play this game because it can be as unhinged as physically possible at times. But yeah, so oh, that's hilarious. Getting in a conga line of summary execution. The closest I've never personally died in Cyberpunk. I've never died in Cyberpunk. During the one shot with the Nazi mummies, that one, we actually had someone borderline go cyber psycho, because you do take mental damage depending on what you're seeing. We dropped him with all of the thermite bombs we had, essentially, and dropped him into, so there was a pyramid, right, that they were in. There was like a throne room in the very top of the pyramid with a hole in the top that they had opened up so they could do the ritual to bring Hitler back with the power of Set. So we dropped our cyber psycho solo with bombs strapped to his chest into that hole from a helicopter. We airdropped a berserker, essentially, into the pyramid. Oh, we also had a magic item. We had, like, this staff that they were going to be using that we stole from them. And he had activated it, and it causes humanity damage each time you used it, if you weren't, like, the chosen person. But it was really strong. So we strapped thermite bombs to his chest and dropped them in the hole, him activating it, and we just see the pyramid go from a pyramid into a beam of light into the heavens. Yeah, welcome to us playing Cyberpunk. It was wonderful. Sounds like a moment from... I think we were playing Aerosmith. I don't remember. I forget what the music was in the background. I'll have to check. Yeah, it was great. I definitely suggest Cyberpunk. If you have good friends that like to do silly stuff, I definitely suggest it. Also, hello Dova, welcome friend. We tried once. That makes sense. I know that some people get a little weary of how fast and loose it can be too. Immediately overwhelmed. Understandable. Oh, we actually just finished it. I'm just yapping at this point about my personal experiences of Cyberpunk. Welcome, Audio! Hello, friend! Yeah, we just finished. We finished up Interlock. So we went through a few of the splat books. In the description of the YouTube, I'm gonna have everything linked, since you can find it all online, because it's a big project for the Interlock Unlimited system. But yeah, Yeah, so we went through on the Interlock side of things. We went over, like, touch through, Interlock. TLDR. Interlock pretty much the same as Cyberpunk 2020, with a few notable differences like the martial arts system, some of the defense systems like AC and all that is different. But and the skills, there's more roll abilities, that sort of thing. Then we went through and did the splat books. Hello, Goober. Welcome, hun. So we went through the 4 of the splat books. There are more. There's a lot more. But we went through 4 of them, which was Meta Powers Unlimited, Psionics Unlimited, Arcane Unlimited, and Martial Arts Unlimited. 3 of these gives you new roll abilities to use their abilities. Use their things. Which is Psionics, Magic, and Martial Arts. I think Martial Arts you can either... I don't think you get a roll. Let me check. Yeah, no, you don't get a roll for, martial arts. You just, go off of the martial arts system. But Psionics and Magic do. Scion and the Arcanist for the rolls. I just realized our music stopped. Whoops. Sorry about that. Me personally, I like adding in the Meta Powers Unlimited for games, because it's just generally fun and we like playing superheroes. Who doesn't like superheroes? But yeah, I think that's about it for this time. I think I'll definitely look into supervillains. You could play supervillains. You can be as morally gray in this system as you want. There are no alignments. I've actually played... So, of our main game that we played, I played 2 characters. It honestly depended on who all was playing. Hello, Toasted! Welcome to the Stream Dreamer. I am Momo Yumeko, magical girl in training. I do cozy streams, TTRPG streams, and gaming every day here on Iriam, and a few days a week over on YouTube. Welcome. We're finishing up, Roll Your Die. Well, this one. We're just yapping now about random stuff. But yeah, so our main game that we played went through a few different iterations. So it went from us playing Cyberpunk Red, because at the time it had just came out and we were all like, ooh, this seems like fun. We've been playing oh gosh, I think that was when we were doing the ball spawn game still. We were still doing the ball spawn game. And we were like, we kind of want a little bit of a change. We want a secondary game to kind of play whenever. So the ball spawn crew got together and started playing Cyberpunk Red. Then we swapped over to 2020, primarily. And then Partner found out about Interlock Unlimited. And was like, you know what would be really funny? If we started introducing some Batman Beyond vibes. So, Meta Powers came to Night City. Awful time for Meta Powers to come to Night City. And it was pretty much the corporations were trying to keep it under wraps for now. Our team, of course, had meta powers. We had different flavors of meta powers. Hi, Nightwolf! Hi, friend! Hello! Like Callisto, my character, which actually, if you guys want to see a meta powers thing, let me, pop, I'll keep it on chatting for now, actually. Hang on, let me pull it up. Hello! Let's see here. Let's get up Callisto real quick. So Callisto is my netrunner, and then let me get Trixie out. They're two different flavors of meta powers. There we go. Hi, Zaris! Hello, hello! So, Callisto technically has 2 sheets attached to her because she is also a netrunner. That's not important right now. So, this is her Google Doc. As you can see, Netrunner Media. Callisto used the Psionics Unlimited stuff. We were also using, I think it was, oh my god, my brain's blanking. We were using Psionics Unlimited. So, if you want a good example of a sheet, here we are. As you can see, all of her, she does not have a single skill under 8 because we were using 75 point buy. We had a lot of, stuff going into this. I also upped some of my skills throughout the game, so that's why that's the way it is. Could carry a lot. Hit locations. Oh, something I don't think we ever went over. Hit locations. So in Cyberpunk, when you don't make a called shot, you just hit normally, you roll a d10. That is your hit locations. And it correlates to an area. So you also have your armor soak in that specific area, depending on like what kind of subdermal armor you have, and other things. Your body, armor, and everything else goes into this number. I was a netrunner, so I don't really, I mean, I had good body. As you can see up here, I have 8 body. That is not the best. It's not a 10 for sure. Hello, Shadow! Welcome, welcome, hun. Everybody has 50 HP. Because of this, with damage reduction, it literally armor soaks your, damage. So say I get hit by a 30-point damage, gunshot to my head. I'm going to get rid of 63 points of that damage. So that 30 turns into, let's see, 7 damage to me. But that's out of 50. That also goes down a point. Now, there are some weapons that armor pierce, so it doesn't care about your damage reduction. You're just taking that damage. Minus body, of course. If I scroll down here a little bit, so you see my IP there. I have a lot of IP, don't worry. I have 280 from the last time we played. So, IP is used to spend all. You get a little bit of IP at the end of your game. And you also upgrade one of your skills you used during that game. So if I say used interface that game, I can upgrade that if it was voted. A lot of people will vote on, like, the roles and stuff. That's just a after-game thing that you do. And, like I said, you add that to its thing. So I had interface 7. That's my net running skill. So I added the +7 to programming, systems knowledge, and hacking attempts. Hacking attempts is a interlock thing, because we changed interface to be more like interlocks. I also used homebrew to make the net running a little bit better and a little bit more in line with 77's, because ours was in 2075. So that was our time period. But I have credibility and psi points. And now we get into our skills. As you can see, I was definitely the netrunner. My programming skill is at a +27 total. With 10 ranks of programming. And of course, if we go up here to our languages, I had Japanese, English, and street slang. Callisto is a Japanese woman. She's Japanese American. So she had native in Japanese, pretty much native in English, and then she had 4 ranks, which she could speak it in street slang. She was a corpo. And, like, as you can see here, for everybody looking at home, your sheet might look different. I use Google Doc Sheets because it's easier. You can index them and everything else, so that's where my sheets are. And it goes down. We have a lot going on here. PowerPoints, here we are. So, each time I used one of these, because what Callisto had was precog, psychic healing, psychic invasion, psychometry, telelocation, telepathy, and telekinesis as her superpowers, essentially. Each time I used one of these, I took a point off of my PowerPoints. You can go into the red with your PowerPoints. Just know, you're more than likely going to take humanity damage. The last time I played, I took humanity damage. That's why I only have 95 humanity right now, I think, because she had 100. Yes, I had 100 because of, even with cybernetics, because we had a home rule that you could go and get therapy for cybernetics. I also had way too much stuff going off of empathy. If I scroll down here, you guys will get to see my gear. And I kept it very simple with, Callisto. So as you can see, we had, you know, agent, my clothes, jewelry, my small objects. My cybernetics were interface plugs, my neural link, my 2 cyber eyes, my mono wire, and that was it. Callisto was very short and sweet with her stuff. Very simple in cybernetics. And a very simple character, honestly, outside of the net running. Net running pretty much made it into a wizard. Trixie, on the other hand, for another flavor of cyberpunk character, she was right along the side of Callisto. Callisto, very cool, calculated, calm character, kind of corpo. Trixie was more alongs of Harley Quinn. With crazy bright colors all over the place. She was a tech savage. Tech being more like... She was a drug dealer, essentially. She was kind of like a drug lord in the combat zone. And she was also the resident strongman of the group. I'll skip over the nitty-gritty. First we'll go over her skills some. As you can see, some of her skills are very similar. She did have Spanish, really good street slang, and really good English. That way, you know, she could talk to people on the street. This automatically changes things with this, because she has brawling, melee, and weapon rifle as her reflex skills. Because she was the resident strongman. You'll see in a minute with her meta powers with that. But also, as her weapon, she was a sniper. So she had a jury-rigged, essentially sniper rifle paintball gun that she used. With the paintballs being a mixture of acid, incinerary rounds, and normal, like, glow paint, essentially. So she was either A, snipering you with random paintballs and doing bludgeoning damage, because they were essentially like rubber bullets. We used rubber bullets as the damage type. But it was all fun and games until you started getting pelted by acid or incinerary rounds. She has one time sniped someone in the mouth with an incinerary round. For the horrors of that thought, she managed to get a round down someone's throat. Yes, that was a very spicy meatball. But she also has brawling melee, so she wasn't a damsel in distress at all. Homegirl could throw hands. And you'll see why we mean that in a minute. She had jury rig because she was a tech. Pharmaceuticals and chemistry. Because she made drugs. She made her own black lace. And blue glass was the other drug she dealt with. So we get down here into powers. She had kinetic absorption, physical, for 50% negation, so anything that dealt physical damage to her. So that included gunshot wounds, punches, getting hit by a car, getting thrown into a wall, anything that caused her physical harm, she negated 50% and turned that into damage. She could store this up to 10 rounds. She also had tier 2 super strength, which meant she doubled her strength for hitting you. Which, let me just pull up Data Fortress again. Let's scroll up here real quick to Melee and Brawl real fast. Oops. Hang on, I just got invited. So, real quick, before we, after this we'll wrap up stream. Where the heck is it? Am I blind? Empathy, body, attractiveness. Where is reflex? There it is, reflex. Brawling melee. So brawling is the skill of fighting man head to head. So you also add a +1 per level of rampage, which is however many ranks you have. Say you have 5 ranks in your rampage, you add +5 to this. Essentially, she was hitting as hard as a missile. Without the damage reduction. Like, if she had stored power, she was going to hit you like a nuke. But yeah, so with that, it is now almost 8 o'clock. I think that is it for tonight. Not this upcoming Saturday, but next Saturday we will be starting on Draw Steel, which is more fantasy focused. This will be my first time looking through it myself. Partners talked about it. As usual, this is normally picked by my community members. I host polls on Twitter and in my Discord for TTRPG choices. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye! Yeah, it was fun to stream. Have a good night, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye.